everyone, and welcome back to Thesaurus Thrive. I'm Lily, and I'm so excited to dive into today's topic, which, let's be honest, affects all of us at some point.
And I'm Ava. You know, Lily, if I had $1 for every time I've forgotten where I put my keys, or what that one word was, I'd be rich. Today, we're tackling the grand challenge. How to remember everything. Boost your memory.
Exactly. It's not just about keys, though that's a classic. Think about trying to learn a new language, remembering complex grammar rules, or even just names at a party. Our memory is fundamental to everything we do, especially for our listeners who are keen on improving their English fluency.
Absolutely. It's frustrating when you feel like you've studied something, you know it, and then poof, it's gone when you need it most. So, where do we even begin with such a huge topic?
Well, Ava, I think it starts with understanding that memory isn't just one thing. It's a complex process involving encoding, storage, and retrieval. And there are so many strategies we can use to optimize each stage. Let's start with encoding, getting information into your brain effectively.
Encoding. Right. So, making sure it sticks in the first place. I often find myself just reading something over and over, hoping it'll sink in, but that rarely works, does it?
Not really, no. Passive review, like just rereading notes, is one of the least effective methods. What we need is active engagement. One of the most powerful techniques for encoding is active recall.
Active recall? That sounds intense. Is it like quizzing yourself?
Precisely. Instead of just looking at the answer, you actively try to retrieve it from your memory. Think flashcards, but more than just vocabulary. After you read a paragraph, close the book and try to summarize the key points in your own words. Or for language learners, trying to translate a sentence from English to your native language and back without looking at the answer.
Oh, I like that. It's like you're forcing your brain to work harder, right? And that struggle actually helps solidify the information. I remember using flashcards for irregular verbs, and it was tough at first, but then they really stuck.
Exactly. The struggle is where the learning happens. It strengthens the neural pathways. And tied very closely to active recall is spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition? That's a fancy term. Break it down for me.
It's super effective, especially for language learning. The idea is to review information at increasing intervals over time. So you learn something today, review it tomorrow, then in 3 days, then a week, then a month. There are even apps like Anki that do this automatically.
So instead of cramming everything right before a test and forgetting it all the next day, you're spreading out the learning, letting your brain truly absorb it. That makes so much sense for English vocabulary because you need to recall words not just once, but every time you speak or write.
Spot on. It moves information from short-term to long-term memory much more effectively. Another big one for encoding is elaboration.
Elaboration. Is that like making it more complex?
Not necessarily more complex, but more connected. It's about linking new information to what you already know, or making it meaningful in some way. For example, when you learn a new English idiom, don't just memorize its definition. Try to use it in a sentence that relates to your own life, or imagine a scenario where you'd use it.
Oh, I get it. Like if I learn the idiom to hit the books, instead of just saying it means to study hard, I'd think I need to hit the books tonight because I have an English exam tomorrow, making it personal and giving it context.
Exactly. You're creating more hooks for your brain to grab onto when it tries to retrieve that information later. The more connections, the stronger the memory. This is also where storytelling comes in. If you can turn a list of facts into a narrative, it becomes infinitely easier to remember.
That's brilliant. I always remember stories better than dry facts. So, we've talked about encoding, getting the info in. What about making sure it stays there and we can pull it out when we need it?
That brings us to storage and retrieval, and this is where mnemonic devices can be incredibly helpful. These are memory aids that help you associate the information you want to remember with something easier to recall.
Mnemonic devices. I remember learning about these in school, like Roy G, Biv for the colors of the rainbow.
Perfect example. Acronyms are a classic. For something like the order of operations in math, PEMDAS, or for English learners, if you're struggling with a sequence of adjectives, you could create a silly sentence where each word starts with the first letter of the adjective.
That's so clever. I've also heard of the memory palaces or loci method. That sounds a bit advanced, but intriguing.
It is. The loci method, or memory palace, is where you associate items you want to remember with specific locations in a familiar place, like your house. You mentally walk through your house and place each item in a distinct spot. When you need to recall the information, you just take that mental walk again.
So, if I wanted to remember a shopping list, I'd imagine milk spilling on my doorstep, bread sliced on my sofa, and eggs cracking in the kitchen sink. That's so vivid, it actually makes sense.
Exactly. The more unusual and vivid the image, the better. Our brains are wired to remember strange and emotional things. This method was actually used by ancient Greek and Roman orators to remember long speeches.
Wow, so it stood the test of time. Okay, so we've got active recall, spaced repetition, elaboration, and mnemonics. Those are some solid tools. But what about the more foundational things that affect our memory day to day?
That's a crucial point, Ava. Our lifestyle plays a massive role. Let's talk about sleep first. It's not just about resting. Sleep is when our brain consolidates memories from the day. If you're sleep deprived, your ability to learn new things and recall old ones plummets.
Oh, tell me about it. After a night of poor sleep, I feel like I'm walking through fog. Trying to remember a complex English grammar rule? Forget about it.
Right? Aim for 7 to 9 hours. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity for optimal brain function. Then there's diet. What you eat profoundly impacts your brain health.
Ah, the old "you are what you eat" adage. So, no more sugar crashes before an important study session.
Ideally, foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, like salmon and walnuts, antioxidants from berries and leafy greens, and whole grains are fantastic for brain health. They help protect brain cells and improve cognitive function.
So, fuel your brain like you would your body for a marathon. Makes sense. And I'm guessing exercise fits into this too?
Absolutely. Regular physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, which in turn delivers more oxygen and nutrients. It also stimulates the growth of new brain cells, particularly in the hippocampus, which is vital for memory and learning.
So, even a brisk walk could help me remember tricky English pronunciations better? I love that. It's not just about sitting at a desk and drilling, it's about a holistic approach.
Exactly. And let's not forget stress. Chronic stress is a huge memory killer. It floods your brain with cortisol, which can damage the hippocampus and impair your ability to form and retrieve memories.
That's so true. When I'm stressed about a deadline, my brain feels completely scrambled. I can't focus, let alone remember details. So, techniques like mindfulness or meditation would help here, right?
Definitely. Mindfulness meditation, even just a few minutes a day, can help reduce stress and improve your attention span. And attention, or focus, is the gateway to memory. You can't remember something if you weren't truly paying attention to it in the first place.
That's a huge point. How many times have I been studying, but my mind is actually on 100 different things? It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket.
Precisely. Multitasking is often a myth when it comes to deep learning. Try to create a focused environment free of distractions, especially when you're trying to learn new English vocabulary or grammar. Give your brain that dedicated time and space.
Okay, so to recap some of these amazing strategies, we've got active recall, spaced repetition, elaboration, and mnemonic devices like acronyms and the memory palace. And then supporting it all with good sleep, a healthy diet, exercise, and managing stress through mindfulness and focus.
You've got it, Ava. It sounds like a lot, but even implementing 1 or 2 of these consistently can make a huge difference. Start small, experiment, and find what works best for you.
And remember, improving your memory isn't just for academic tests. It's for better conversations, understanding complex ideas, and ultimately, truly thriving in your English fluency journey. Imagine remembering new words the first time you hear them, or effortlessly recalling grammar rules in conversation.
That's the dream, isn't it? And it's totally achievable. So give these techniques a try, let us know what works for you in the comments, and share this episode with anyone who's ever lost their keys.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on Thesaurus Thrive. We hope this helps you remember everything, or at least a lot more. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving.
Bye, everyone.